AEW President Tony Khan says a new era in All Elite Wrestling will begin at AEW's WrestleDream pay-per-view next weekend. A political power play backstage reportedly is the reason for one WWE superstar being released by the company. Details on what that could be. SmackDown could it move to 3 hours long when it returns to USA Network next year? While Eric Bischoff certainly thinks so. Cody Rhodes, his next feud could have been revealed at a live event this past weekend. CJ Perry is going to be a manager in AEW, but she's not going to be managing her husband Miro, and Top Dolla says he and Michael Cole had several conversations about having a program on WWE television. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about WrestleDream and some big promises made by Tony Khan and some big hints about a potential big moment at next weekend's pay-per-view. AEW President Tony Khan has stated that the upcoming WrestleDream pay-per-view will mark the beginning of a new era in All Elite Wrestling. With AEW founded in 2019, the company has had an eventful 4 years of operations. During a new video package that aired on September 23rd edition of Collision, Tony Khan noted in his voiceover that a chapter of wrestling history will end at the October 1st WrestleDream show. The vignette was pretty revealing, certainly. Looking to the future, Khan said, quote, "Next Sunday, October 1st, it'll be one of the greatest nights in wrestling, with every match capable of stealing the show, and a card befitting the legacy of the kingdom that has touched every one of us. AEW and the world of pro wrestling will converge as the greatest champions and rivalries in this sport will take center stage live on pay-per-view. At AEW WrestleDream next Sunday, we will pay tribute to the dreamer that made this all possible, the late, great Antonio Inoki, with an event 1 year in the making. You won't want to miss AEW WrestleDream, as we'll end a chapter in wrestling history and begin a new era in AEW live on pay-per-view next Sunday night, October 1st. Of course, a number of major matches have been confirmed for the show, which will honor the New Japan founder, Antonio Inoki, 1 year on from his passing. As was confirmed on this week's episode of Collision, Eddie Kingston will put both his Ring of Honor World Championship and New Japan Strong Openweight titles on the line against Katsuyori Shibata, in addition to several other matches being announced. So, what are your thoughts on Tony Khan's comments? Do you think it's just hype? Do you think it's just hyperbole? Or do you think this is a hint at something bigger happening next weekend? And if so, what do you think that thing will be? Let me know your thoughts and predictions, as always, in the comment section below. Now, releases have been ongoing this weekend. Have we seen the beginning of a backstage political power play? Well, Rick Boogs was one of the many WWE stars who was released over the past few days. Now, Boogs has now commented on his release, stating his belief that it came as a result of a, quote, backstage political power play. On his YouTube channel, he posted a new gym tour video, but opened with the following comment saying, quote, "All right, fellas, we're back, and let me tell you, it's been an interesting time in my life, with my job in WWE being terminated due to a backstage political power play. At least that's my opinion of it. But now, not the time to talk about that. I will get into detail about that when the time is right." After doing a gym tour and showing his workouts, he then closed the video by saying, quote, "As I mentioned earlier about my job, again, it's not the time, but when I do and can speak freely, it's going to be freaking juicy, fellas. I'm talking about all the nitty-gritty details. You know what I'm talking about?" Now, of course, the full list included the likes of Matt Riddle, Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali, Dana Brooke, Shelton Benjamin, Elias, and much more this week. But what are your thoughts about Rick Boogs' comments when it comes to a backstage political power play? Is he referring to a possible political power play involving Vince McMahon and Triple H over creative control of WWE, with Vince McMahon being a big fan of Rick Boogs and maybe Triple H not being a fan of the former NXT superstar? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. And is this an indication that something is bubbling up backstage in WWE, or is it just a case of sour grapes from a star that has been released from his contract? Let me know your thoughts about that. Now, the big announcement this week was that SmackDown is heading back to the USA Network, NBC Universal picking up the Blue brand after it's set to leave Fox next year upon the expiration of its contract. News broke this past week that WWE had come to an agreement with the USA Network for the television rights to SmackDown, marking an end to the Blue brand's tenure on Fox. It had been speculated for some time that SmackDown was due to change networks at the end of their current deal, while Raw and NXT, their future's pretty much undecided at the moment. Some expect them to stay on the USA Network. Others are suggesting that they could go to another potential network, possibly even a streaming service as well. But former Raw General Manager Eric Bischoff has echoed the sentiment that possibly all the brands could be on USA Network or be with NBC Universal when it comes to the next media contracts renewals. He said, quote, "That's kind of where I would lean, and there's no reason for that really other than my gut," he said, adding that the show has been on the network for as long as he can remember, that being Monday Night Raw. He said there's a lot of value in keeping to old television values in a world where streaming and on-demand services have grown exponentially, and Raw has long set that benchmark for 52 weeks a year. So there is value in, quote, being able to make that statement as a network, and there is a sense of comfort for advertisers. As for SmackDown's future on its new network, Bischoff said he wouldn't be surprised to see the show extended to a 3-hour runtime. He recalled when Ted Turner and AT&T instructed him to expand WCW Monday Nitro to 3 hours, the decision was out of his control, as the third hour provided lucrative value in additional ad revenue, which helped balance the books. He said, quote, "It makes a lot of sense. USA has obviously had a lot of experience with it," Bischoff explained. "They're very comfortable with it. They've been doing it for a long time. I would be surprised if they didn't, frankly. I'd be shocked." Of course, it is suggested at this point that SmackDown is going to remain on Friday nights once it moves to USA Network next year. So, do you think SmackDown could become 3 hours, particularly if Raw leaves the network? Where do you think Raw's even going to go? Is Raw going to stay on USA on Mondays, or is it going to move to a different network, a streaming service, and on a different night? Is it going to go back to 2 hours? Let me know your predictions and thoughts about that. Now, Cody Rhodes, who is his next feud in WWE going to be against? It could be against the Nigerian giant himself, Omos. Raw star Cody Rhodes' next opponent has potentially been revealed following the events of a recent WWE house show. While Rhodes still regularly wrestles on Raw, the American Nightmare hasn't really had a major singles rivalry since defeating Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam earlier this year. Instead, Rhodes has been joining forces with several stars at odds with the Judgment Day faction, welcoming Jey Uso to the Red Brand as well. At Saturday's WWE house show in Palm Springs, California, Cody Rhodes' next rival appeared to reveal himself. During the show, an MVP VIP lounge segment with Rhodes, MVP, and Omos led to a street fight between Rhodes and Dominic Mysterio. Omos ultimately interfered in the match, attacking Rhodes. The video can be seen on social media. As WWE often uses house shows to test out rivalries and matches before bringing them to television, this clip has led to speculation about a potential Rhodes versus Omos rivalry. Omos' most recent televised in-ring appearance saw him compete in the Slim Jim Battle Royal at SummerSlam, which of course was ultimately won by LA Knight. So Cody Rhodes versus Omos, are you into that, or are you still wondering what's next for the American Nightmare? Do you think he's just biding his time until he can pick up his rivalry once again with Roman Reigns on SmackDown, or with The Rock's hints, is that in jeopardy? Let me know your thoughts about that. Now, CJ Perry is going to be a manager in AEW, but she's not going to be managing her husband. CJ Perry will return to her managerial ways now that she is part of AEW, but hopes that her husband Miro can refrain from attacking her future clients. Perry made her debut for All Elite Wrestling earlier this month at All Out, coming to the aid of her husband. Perry made her debut with the words hot and flexible on the screen at the stage, referencing past adjectives used by Miro to describe his wife. In the ring, Miro was reluctant to accept his wife being his manager and refused to acknowledge that she was even real. Taking to Twitter after the show, the former Lana made it clear that she was not the kind of woman to be renounced by Miro. On this week's episode of AEW Collision, Perry spoke about her return to the world of pro wrestling, stating that Miro has lost his way. Perry's interview would then be interrupted by her husband, who spoke about temptations and paths before Perry revealed she would be a manager in AEW. Quote, "You go take your path and I'm going to take mine. But please promise me one thing. Do not lay a hand on any of my future clients or people I'm going to manage." Now, in WWE, Perry was most associated with Miro, who then competed as Rusev, but she would work alongside others in the promotion. In 2015, Perry was also, whilst working as Lana, aligned herself with Dolph Ziggler in a love drama storyline, infamously, that would also include Rusev and Summer Rae. In 2019, Lana would also have a romantic relationship on screen with Bobby Lashley, who she would manage, though it would also be revealed she had been dating Liv Morgan as well. So there you go. But what are your thoughts about that storyline, and where do you think that one is going? Finally, Top Dolla. Yes, Top Dolla has spoken up about Michael Cole, maybe his biggest rival in WWE, on television, of course, and actually that he had discussions with Michael Cole about possibly even having a match with the WWE commentator. Former WWE superstar Top Dolla says he actually talked to Michael Cole about having a match. The Hit Road Trio is no more in WWE. On Thursday, Top Dolla was released by WWE, while B-Fab and Ashanti the Adonis remain in the company. For whatever reason, WWE felt like it was time to let Top Dollar, real name AJ Francis, out of his contract. Since Hit Row wasn't being used that much, WWE likely felt it was time to split up the group. The trio, of course, was rehired by WWE in August 2022 when Triple H took over the creative team. Over the last year, Hit Row started out as babyfaces, then they became a heel team on SmackDown. They didn't really have many memorable moments except when Top Dolla tried a dive that didn't go too well. In a December 2022 tag team match, Top Dolla ran the ropes and attempted a dive over the top rope onto the floor, but instead he hit the ropes and flopped over to the floor. That led to veteran WWE commentator Michael Cole remarking, quote, "I guess there's a reason he doesn't do that often." Now, in the months that followed, Cole kept criticizing Top Dolla whenever Dolla was on television. Following his WWE release, Top Dolla revealed that he actually wanted to have a match with Michael Cole, and Cole was eager to do it. Keep in mind that Cole has wrestled in the past, but the last match was in 2012, which is probably a good thing here. As Dolla made clear on social media, he wanted to have a match with Cole and was happy to have Cole win, but they, meaning WWE, management didn't seem to want to do it. He said, quote, "I offered to put Cole over and he wanted to do it too. We talked about it at length of how we could build it, even had him winning by a small package out of a stalling suplex. They didn't care beyond have him drag me every week, which made people talk about me, so I loved it." Those of us that remember Michael Cole's matches in the past should probably maybe say thank you. About that, I'm not too sure. Nevertheless, the match indeed did not happen. But there you go, guys. This latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.